Even though Disney now owns Marvel, the company has a long history of including sexually explicit materials in its comics and movies. This is something that is likely to embarrass Disney or force them to urge Walt to hide his eyes. It is not unnatural to see the logic that these super hot superheroes with perfect bodies would get intimate with each other, and the premise of Marvel is that it features its characters dealing with real-life issues and scenarios. Participating in activities that require one to be physically near to another person is presented as a difficulty in its own right within the Marvel Comics world, despite the fact that partaking in such activities bring its own unique set of challenges and difficulties. Intimacy is often used as a strategy for surprising the audience and for the creation of content that may be classified as fan fiction. The audience, in the end, is the one who must decide for themselves how they feel about everything. Your watching enjoyment is ensured by the presentation of a selection of visually personal and graphically explicit passages from the Marvel corpus. As you continue watching, we strongly recommend that you proceed with caution due to the fact that not all of the scenarios require permission, and some of them may even be improper. Osborne's Satisfaction. Nobody thought that Marvel would really portray this occurring. Just think about it. He fathered a kid with Peter Parker's ex-girlfriend, Gwen Stacy, and the fact that he did so was the impetus for him to decide to kill her. He killed her because he was jealous of Peter Parker's relationship with Gwen. It's possible that we should consider ourselves very lucky that none of Mark Webb's movies have ever had us go through the excruciating experience of seeing Chris Cooper portray Emma Stone, Wolverine and wife of Magneto. In the Ultimate Universe, Magneto was married to Magda. However, prior to their marriage, Magda had taken in a wounded Wolverine, and she and Wolverine had some intimate moments together, which ultimately led to questions being raised about the paternity of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver's children. Nevertheless, this is not the conclusion of the narrative. In this version of events, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are engaging in an incestuous relationship, and Wolverine, who is believed to be the biological father of their children, observes them while they have sexual contact with one another. There is no denying the fact that sometimes he does his work in a manner that is exceedingly unsatisfactory. Deadpool did it in a coffin. It's likely that this item on our list is the one that has the least amount of debate around it. Why is it such a big deal if a married guy has sexual intercourse with his wife? Well, the fact that he's an immortal mutant who is afflicted with a tumor and that she is a shape-shifting monster is what makes this situation such a difficult conundrum to solve. On top of that, they are making out inside a coffin only a short time after she broke through the chest of someone else. It's fortunate that all of Ryan Reynolds' hot scenes occurred before he underwent his change in the movie. Tony Stark and Black Widow. To give credit where credit is due, the two people in question did not intend to have their interaction captured on film. The integrity of the security system was violated in some way. However, the challenging part isn't the one that you've been focusing on. The problem was that Natasha didn't seem to have any nipples, which was quite suspicious. It would seem that she has fooled the team, and Tony has told her of this, which has prompted her to become upset. She blames Tony for her anger. To tell you the truth, it makes about the same amount of sense as everything else in the Ultimate may potentially make sense. Ant-Man Did The Wasp. It's not uncommon for followers to wonder about the personal lives of their favorite superheroes from time to time. Fans do this for a number of reasons. In point of fact, Hank Pym exploited his shrinking abilities to their fullest extent by entering all the way inside his fiancée Janet Van Dyne, and as a result, he emerged from the ordeal drenched. Because of this, issue 71 of Avengers was given the unusual rating of adult, which, in turn, provoked a substantial amount of discussion. On the other side, fans were just as unhappy with the game's terrible artwork and plot as they were with the actual Wasp Juice product itself. As a result of Disney's acquisition of Marvel Entertainment and the character's transformation into a more kid-friendly figure, we do not think that Ant-Man will ever again get his feet wet. Hulk making out in the public. It was revealed in Incredible Hulk issue 7.1 that Hulk and his alter ego Bruce Banner live in separate universes. When he is not in the smash mode, Hulk has no notion of how he should be spending his time and has no plans to find out. Because of this, he makes out with Red She-Hulk in front of everyone and then proceeds to seduce her. The fact that there was no act of incest involved in this is a welcome turn of events. This lady's name was Betty Ross, and she was the one in question. Only in the other world, shown in Old Man Logan, did Hulk have sexual relations with his cousin, and at the time of their affair, the two were already parents to a small brood of inbred Hulklings. Okay. Rear entry. Fans may be familiar with Jessica Jones as a result of the Netflix program that bears her name. However, it is highly unlikely that they are aware that in the Alias comics, she and Luke Cage participated in sexual activity that was not natural to either of them. This is because the comics depict the two of them as having a sexual relationship that neither of them had previously experienced. In point of fact, the Alabama-based Marvel printers thought the combination of anal and interracial couplings to be so controversial that they first opted not to publish the comic. Although it was in a more traditional position than in real life, Jessica and Luke did make out in the episode that was available on Netflix. On the other hand, they will be observed quite near to one another once again in Defenders, which means that it is hard to rule out the prospect of a back entry. Hawkeye Bewitched. Clint Barton, Hawkeye, is shown as a loving, joyfully married family guy throughout the films that are part of the MCU. On the other hand, this is only because Joss Whedon believed that this would be an excellent story twist. In the comic books, he has had a number of relationships that have been of high quality, and one of them happened to be with Scarlet Witch, whom he made out with when she was suffering from amnesia and acting irrationally. Miss Marvel is the mother of her own rapist. What? It is similar to Terminator, although in this scenario, the protagonist John Connor is revealed to be the same person as the antagonist Kyle Reese, and the heroine Sarah Connor is a helpless victim with no agency of her own. She is 3 days away from giving birth to a child who will be an adult in full form, but she does not know who the baby's real father is. At the conclusion of the day, Carol Danvers finds out that the baby's name is Marcus, and that he is the son of an alien called Immortus. In order for him to be revived from his time of inactivity and become active again, he employed a variety of techniques of seduction on her, in addition to a technology that controls the mind to make her pregnant with him. After he was reincarnated into the human form, he quickly developed into an adult version of Marcus, and the two of them went together to a distant dimension while keeping a happy companionship with one another throughout their journey. It's not only you who finds it unusual and unsettling. There are a lot of others who share your perspective on the matter. The female companions of Ultimate Hulk. There was a Bruce Banner in the Ultimate Universe who gave Nick Fury, to put it mildly, more than his fair share of headaches. The Ultimate Universe was also home to a strange and terrifying version of the Maximoff brothers. Following the atrocities that Fury committed in New York, Paris, Ireland, and India, he commissioned Wolverine to eliminate the Hulk. Even though Banner went insane and murdered 800 people in a fit of anger because Barry Ross left him for Freddie Prinze Jr., the strangest thing the Ultimate Hulk did in this narrative is not even close to being as bizarre as that. Neither was severing Wolverine's torso in two and hurling his limbs across a distance of 4 kilometers from his body. After following Bruce to Tibet, Logan found out that there were almost no women living in that region. He trailed the giant green Fury monster to a cave deep inside the mountains, where he discovered it surrounded by around 50 ladies who were only half-clothed. The majority of the people still think of the Hulk as a hero, despite the fact that this story takes place in a reality in which he should be executed for the mistakes he's made. It is one thing for Hulk to go into hiding. It is quite another for the whole of the female population of Tibet to be converted into slaves in a practical sense. Why do you suppose there were 50 ladies who were only partially clothed? Bonus: Spider-Woman #1. In former years and eras, female characters in comic books were a far cry from what they are today. Women in comics were often shown in one of 3 archetypal characters: the damsel in distress, ludicrously over-sexualized while wearing skimpy and insanely unsuited costumes, or both of these roles at the same time. Rarely were they taken seriously or recognized as genuine characters. To our great relief, Marvel has made substantial progress in this area, yet there are still moments in time that cannot be disregarded owing to the historical importance of the event that occurred at those times. One of the most infamous instances is a variant cover that the artist Milo Manara made for Spider-Woman #1. The main character, Spider-Woman, is shown adopting a pose that seems to be nearly completely inaccurate on this cover. Manara was best recognized for erotica. Hence, it should not come as a surprise that his cover was explicit to the point that he got a flood of complaints about it. Although he wrote other types of works as well, erotica was what brought him the most fame. The image in question displays the eponymous person in a position that is evidently designed to exploit her in a sexually provocative way. Even when contrasted to Marvel's earlier incarnations, the fact that she is shown wearing clothing that clings closely to her body is deemed risque. It is now a lot more difficult to take the character seriously, despite the fact that this is more of a problem with the cover than with the story itself. Please let us know in the comments below if you believe it is okay for the Marvel comics to have a little bit of a dirty side, or whether you think it should be removed from the comics in the future. Click the like button if you'd like to see more videos just like the one you're watching now. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll be waiting for you in the next video.